What is up, everybody? I am Taylor. It is July 13th. I don't know why I have to keep checking my watch. I'm not checking the time. I'm just telling you the date. It is July 13th. Yeah, that's why I checked the watch. July 13th, 2022. It's the Cranky Comic Book Review. And I gotta say, this is a better week than last week. And not just because I have stuff behind me, finally. Although there's a gap I've got to fill in over there. I'll get to it. Maybe. We'll see. Took a while for this to happen, people. I'm lazy. I'm very lazy. And all my time is spent reading. Reading these fine books for you fine people. Okay, it's actually for my own edification and enjoyment. But I like talking about it, and some of you like watching for whatever reason, so we're going to get into it. Yeah, it was a better week than last week, thankfully. Last week's comics were not that great. There are some clunkers this week, but for the most part, decent week. We're going to start with one of my favorite covers, but a book that I just don't quite get. The Mandalorian, issue number 1. Yeah, it's at the bottom of the list. It's an adaptation. If you've seen The Mandalorian, you've seen a much better version of this. It's a weirdly paced adaptation of the first episode, maybe even the first 2. I can't remember. I think it's the first episode only, but it's the way it's done. Like, there's pacing issues with this, and the art is okay, but doesn't do a great job of capturing the likenesses. And if it weren't based on a TV show, that probably wouldn't bug me as much. But it is, so it does. And yeah, I don't know. I really didn't love it. And it's all give me. I bought it because I'm like, I'm a speculator. What if they do something with the Mandalorian? But they already have, so it's backwards, right? Backwards, people. Also, it's a hard book to probably get in a high grade. There's color rub on this issue, and there's probably color rub on a lot of them with this white cover. But I do love the white cover. And yeah, it's okay. It's just kind of, why does this exist? Oh, so Marvel and DC can make more money off of shit. It's not I wish it was a new story. Like, tell the story of Mando before he found baby Yodo, Froyo, baby Froyo. Before he found baby Froyo. That'd be interesting. Tell him how, just do something else, something new. Something that's not just a rehash to grab money and, I don't know, whatever. It's fine. It's all right. It's just not great. And it's the bottom of the list. All right, another cover I like, but a book that I'm like, I don't know, whatever. Look, it's about as busy as the wall behind me. It's Axe Body Spray, Eve of Judgment number 1, Avengers, X-Men, Eternals. It's setting up for the summer event. It's, I don't know, did Kieran Gillen actually even write this issue? It feels like it. His Eternals bored the ever-loving shit out of me when I tried reading it, and I couldn't get into it. And this kind of also is a dull issue. It's a setup thing. You learn that Druig is trying to take out the X-Men because reasons. They don't really give a good reason. They just, I guess, ostensibly because they're deviants, but that's not his motivation for doing it, at least not presented here. Yeah, it's Kieran Gillen and Pascal Ferry in the art. Okay, Ferry's art also hit or miss for me. And it's hit or miss for me from panel to panel in this issue. His Eternal stuff was okay. I didn't dig the way he drew the X-Men, for whatever it's worth. And yeah, this is basically the Eternals are going to fight the X-Men because they're deviants. That's the big setup for the big summer event. But there's quabbling because apparently stuff happened in the Eternals. I guess there's 100 Eternals now. Whatever. And if Eternals do something happens that hurts humanity, whatever. I guess the whole thing, it tells some shit that happened in the Eternals run that after I stopped reading it because it was boring. And then it's a boring recap of a boring series. And boring. And look, there's lights and stuff behind me. I don't know if I like this background. Let me know. Do you like this? Should I go back to the concrete blankness that just says AC? Look, I left the AC there. I'm not sure. I'm not sold. I like some of the posters, but it's hard to with the lights and stuff and things and setup and whatnot. So let me know. It has nothing to do with this week's comics, but I don't know. I just looked at the screen. I saw myself. I saw a glare, and I thought I'd think about it. All right, this cover I did not love, but it's what my comic shop had. I had a couple choices, and I got this one. I was like, well, what if they do give him a new suit? Then I have the first speculative appearance of that new suit, even though it's a crappy suit, and I normally like this guy's art, but I really hated this cover. Daredevil issue number 1, the David Nakayama variant. That is a stupid-ass face, and that is a stupid-ass cover design and a stupid-ass character redesign. Thankfully, spoilers, does not happen in this issue. It's Zdarsky, it's Marco Cicchetto, the same team that was on the last run of Daredevil, and then they had the Daredevil, whatever the hell the series happened after Daredevil ended that should have just been part of regular, Civil War Part 11 or whatever, right? Or I don't know what it's called. It felt like Civil War redone with Kingpin and Civil War-y stuff and the reset, and I guess it's a reset, and I guess this is an issue number 1. It's not a very good issue number 1. It's not a bad Daredevil issue that sort of continues things. But for an issue number 1, it kind of feels like the new Spider-Man issue number 1, which is also not a great issue number 1. It's like, oh, there's a time jump and you have to learn what happened. And then we're going back forthy, timey, wimey, stuffy thingies. There's a new character introduced here probably. You learn that Daredevil and Elektra are going to be part of the Fist. I mean, they're going to fist the hand or some shit. I don't know. It's all right. It's Zdarsky, it's Daredevil. I trust where it's going. But it's just not the strongest issue I've ever read of the title, and it's kind of low on the list for that reason. I don't know. Yeah, I know other people are going to probably have it higher on the list, but I figured an issue number 1 would have more of a sense of excitement to it, and more of a sense of there is a bit of a reset in here, and there's stuff that happens. Obviously, it's a comic; stuff happens in the pages, but it didn't feel like the grandiose entrance you want to make. You want to burst through the doors when you have an issue number 1. You want to announce yourself to the party and take a shit on the floor or something so people remember you. This didn't do any of that. I mean, it kind of shit the bed a little, but not on the floor. So it's Amber Hearded, but not in a good way. All right. Next, this came out last week, but my LCS, I got it late, so I'm read it this week. It's Strange Adventures number 18. This is the last issue, and then they're going to reset it because it's what Marvel does. They can't just keep on going shit. They have to start things over, and start things over unnecessarily. It's kind of young. It's Roberto Ramos. It's decent. It just feels rushed. Not that the issue came out rushed, but like the events that happen in this issue feel rushed, and like the character development that takes place in this issue feels like it happened way too quickly. Like they didn't set the seeds enough for it in the previous issues for this to like have been the big revelation at the end of this book. I don't want to spoil it if you haven't read it yet, but like, yeah, there's things that happen. It's a cliffhanger ending. It's going to get resolved or reset in the fall after the school's off summer break, because it's an academy, get it? School seasons, it's a season that's 18 issues long instead of 12. I don't quite understand that. I'm looking forward to coming back. It's been one of my favorite titles, and it's one of Marvel's stronger titles, honestly. And this is not necessarily a bad issue by any means. It's just not the strongest of this series. And yeah, they should have done more time, spent more time building up a few elements to get here. It just sort of feels like that, like some of the stuff that happens in here is undeserved. And because it's just, you didn't have the build up necessary to make it an interesting thing. So there you go. All right. Are we doing this in this order? Yeah, we're going to do this order. Fuck it. Barbaric, the Harvest Blades number 1. It's a one-shot set in the world of Barbaric. Barbaric, my Marici, is one of my favorite new characters in last year, and one of my favorite books of last year. It's a barbarian cursed to live an immortal life, named Owen, and he's got an axe that I think you learned his name in here, named Axie. Talking axe, bloodthirsty, that drains the souls, and drinks blood and gets drunk off the blood, but can only kill evil people. So it's a barbarian that can't be evil and do evil barbarian-y things. He has to be kind of good. This is a one-shot. Like I said, it's the art is what's holding this back. It's not. If it were the same dynamic creative team that was on the first 3 issues, it'd probably be higher. It's a solid issue. It's a fun one-and-done story that introduces a character that's probably gonna play a part in the future. This one with the Harvest Blades, I can't remember her name, Kaladi, something. But yeah, it's a fun little tale. If you like Conan and you like this kind of stuff, you dig this. I feel like it's really missing the main artist on this. The Wilson is not bad, just not overly dynamic in some ways, and some of the panels in the action, especially, I was like, what the hell? There's not really great panel transitions, so it's solid on that regard. But it's a fun Barbaric tale. If you like Barbaric, the first one, you're gonna like this probably. The axe gets to be a badass. Barbarian does some fun stuff, and the new character is a fun little intro. So Barbaric, it's a decent read. All right, next we have 8 Billion Genies number 3. Right, this book just seems like it's coming out every damn week. I don't know. It's optioned. Amazon's gonna do something with it. Everyone on the planet gets a wish. People make dumb wishes. And yeah, there's a bar where everyone's protected because one of the bartenders was smart, which is, if you ever met a bartender, they're always geniuses beyond their years. Or some are just bartenders, I guess. But whatever. Yeah, it's a fun book. This issue I like better than issue number 2. Issue number 2 didn't really feel like I was going anywhere. This, at least, characters do a little bit of something, especially one of the characters that left the bar on a hunt. That's like what mainly happens. And then there are, you learn a little bit more of the rules of the world. And Charles Soule, that's kind of what this is still doing. It's a world building thing and an exercise on like humanity's foibles and follies and what would happen if everybody got their wishes. Except for it, I wish. Get it? I wish. I wish it would do a little more of that. I wish there'd be a little bit more exploration into some of this stuff. I mean, I understand you have to make the tale small and manageable, even though you tell like a story that's worldwide and has giant ramifications. And it's a fun story. It's just kind of would be a little bit more exciting if you told more side stories, I think, or it had a little bit more adventures. There's hints of this in here, and it's not a bad book by any means. It's better than, like I said, better than the second issue. Solid. There's characters that come. There's characters that go. There's literary giants in here for a bit, and actual giants and superheroes and mech armor and stuff. It's a fun one. I don't know. It's not going to change the world, but 8 billion genies, not bad. Next, yeah, we have Above Snakes, number 1. This is a fun little westerny revenge rompy taily type thingy, right? Sean Lewis on the writing, Hayden Sherman on the art. The art is kind of loose and liquidy, kind of reminds me of Paul Pope art in a ways, and the story itself is decent. It's not amazing, but it's a down on his luck mercenary that lost his wife and is gonna go get revenge, reluctantly, kind of. You'll learn in the beginning there's some reluctance, and there's a talking dead bird or ghost bird or something. I'm not sure. They don't really explain that. I liked it. It's solid enough. The coloring helps out the story a fair amount too. I can't remember who's on the coloring, and I think I just bent the crap out of the book getting it out of here because the coloring is Hassan Otsmani or Otsmani Alho. I'm butchering that. I apologize. They've done some great coloring lately, and I like some of their stuff. But yeah, it's kind of a Paul Popey feeling book. Lots of splash pages in the beginning, which is odd. I thought the whole book was going to be splash pages, and one of the splash pages is just blue. I get you're following the tone, but then it kind of goes into a more traditional thing. But I like the coloring quite a bit. I think that really helps set the stage for the tale. And the tale it was a decent little first intro into the character. And yeah, Above Snakes is actually not the name of the main character. The main character's name is Dirt. And the Above Snakes is his gang that killed his wife, and he's trying to get revenge and take out the gang. And so that's the setup without spoiling a whole lot. I think that's in the previews. You get some character sketches in the back, and yeah, it's got some humorous moments. It's got some deep stuff. It's a decent little Western book. So not too shabby. Above Snakes, number 1. Image Comics. Yeah. All right. Next, we have Marvel's best ongoing book by like a lot right now, especially since Strange Academy is on hiatus. Moon Knight number 13. Jed McKay's writing it. It was Sabatini on the guest art. Guest art was pretty serviceable, and this is another kind of filler transitional issue, which makes sense when you have the guest artist. You want them to like tell a tale that's not probably set in the main bigger story, so they don't it's not jarring for the readers. I thought the artist did a good enough job, and this is a Taskmaster basically saying what a badass that Moon Knight is, and the Moon Knight does some badass and kind of dastardly evil things in here. So you're like, oh, well, yeah, not wrong, Taskmaster. You are not wrong, good sir. First appearance on here of a character named Tudor, I think, who's probably set up to be a fairly large bad guy down the line or the next arc. And you get a little bit more of the multiple personality stuff that Moon Knight has. I'm using the wrong terminology there. I apologize. But yeah, that the one of the character traits that's been Moon Knight's from the get-go is finally getting addressed in this series a little bit more, and it's interesting. Yeah, I don't have a lot of complaints about this book. I wish it came up more often. No, I don't really. I'm okay with the monthly on it, and I don't always love Jed McKay. Like it turns out, I don't love his Strange book, and I don't love some of the other stuff he's written. But I'm really enjoying him on Moon Knight. I'm really enjoying this run of Moon Knight. It's more action packed and more like street brawlery than some iterations of the character, and the character really does shift a lot depending on who's writing him. That said, yeah, Moon Knight, one of Marvel's stronger books. Strong issue. We've got a couple left. It's going to be probably a fairly quick review for me this week. I don't know. Well, maybe not. We'll see. Next, we have Morokov, the Flavor of Danger. This is another one-shot. Scout Comics. Tom Lintern does, I think, all of this, including the lettering. Not great on the lettering, but whatever. It's Morokov. It's like this over-the-top mega mall, kind of reminiscent of Judge Dredd's Megalopolis or Mega City 1 or whatever the fuck it's called. There's mullets, there's cops, there's the 80s, there's food courts, there's all-you-can-eat buffets and canned peas, and a ridiculous plot to get people to buy more. It's almost a little too on the nose for humanity and the megacorps, and we're all being ruled by corporations, people. It's a fun book. I dig it. I like the art a lot. I like the coloring. I like all of it. It's except for the price tag. I don't. It's you get a lot for your buck. It's a fairly beefy big book, but it is soft bound and it's still $7. I'm not sure if that's quite worth it, but you get this light pastel-y, thin line work stuff that Lintern does that I enjoy, and it's just over the top stupid action. Like, there's really heavily armed people shooting at other people. There's mind control drugs. There's chase scenes on a beefed up Segway. It's dumb. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, you don't really even probably need to read the previous Mullet Cop to get this one, but you can probably hunt it down. It's probably actually cheaper than cover price now. Not really. So, Mullet Cop. What is it called? The Flavor of Danger. Oh, the Flavor of Danger ties into the book as well. So, yeah, good one. All right, next, this also came out last week, but I was like getting it from the LCS, so whatever. I'm reading it this week, and it's Saga number 60. Saga's been great since it came back, and this issue is no different. Brian K. Vaughan, Fiona Staples, and yeah, they're on the run. They're trying to make ends meet, mom and daughter, and the daughter, whose name I can never remember, is in a stages of growing up and had the other characters. I'm bad at the characters' names in this book, but whatever. She has to deal with a budding romantic interest that she's not basically in for, and deal with grief. This is a quieter episode of this issue of this book, which is pretty episodic in nature, but it's an effective one, and you learn. Not learn, but you just watch a child deal with grief in a pretty deep and intense and heartfelt way at the end of this issue. And yeah, I dig it. I don't have a lot of bad things to say about Saga. It's been great from the get-go. I do need to still catch up and read a lot of the interim issues, but you can get enough of the gist of it if you just start at where the book picked back up. And I think you're in for a good read pretty much every month on this one. I've never read a bad issue Saga, and this is also not a bad issue Saga. Came close to making my book of the week, except I read this last book last, and it made the book of the week, and it's been a long time coming for this one. So this also probably my favorite cover of the week. Maybe a little hard to see on my screen. It's in a magazine bag and board, but it's Rogues number 3. Josh Williamson with Limex in the art, and yeah, this is a Black Label, big boy, beefy DC book. Also $6.99, same price as Mullet Cop, but look, you get more mullets, less cop or gorillas. This is a heist book. Leonard Stark, Captain Cold, gets together the gang for one last heist because they're a bunch of ne'er-do-well villains that have ne'er done well. If you're not reading Rogues, you could probably wait and pick it up in a collected edition because this is the second to last issue of it. But if you've been reading it thus far and you've enjoyed the previous ones, you'll probably really dig this one. This is the heisty part of it all. We're cursed at sudden but inevitable part of the story where everything goes horribly wrong. That part's a little tropey, but the way that it's handled, and especially the characterization and the brutality that Captain Cold shows in this issue, it's like, holy hell, it's just kind of a badassness. It's like a badass and a little sad at the same time. Like, there's this fine line that Williamson walks in this book that he does not walk in his main issues or his main writing a whole lot. And I'm really enjoying this here because it's like a sad old man trying to hold on to things and trying to cope with the fact that he's sad and old, and also trying to still be a badass and try and get right with the world that he feels has done him wrong. So this sense of aging and futility and like the meaningless of it all. That's like just bubbling under the surface of this book, and I really enjoyed it. I loved issue number 1. Issue number 2 I liked, and I'm back to loving issue number 3. It's one of the better things DC's done in a while. It's been a long time since between issues, or at least it feels like. I think it's been a few months. I don't know if it was paper shortage or the behind on the art or what, but if you have been reading Rogue, so let me know in the comments down below, because I think that's one of DC's stronger, even Black Label titles. And I am not always a fan of Williamson. I am harsh as hell on some of his stuff. Like, I really don't like his Dark Crisis crap and the fact that he's in charge of the DC main universe right now. I don't think he's doing a great job at that, but I do think this title is pretty fantastic. So that's what I read this week, people. Not a bad week for comics. I had a fairly tough time getting my top 5, but like, we got rogues, not robes, Morokov, Saga, Moon Knight, and Above Snakes. The top 5. Oh, and these 2 books I also probably could have been in contention. We got the Barbaric, the Harvest Blades, and the BILLION GENIES probably could have been in contention. Like, I could have swapped out possibly these 4 and been, yeah, in these 4 kind of could have interchanged about the level how I like them. But yeah, that's what I read this week. Let me know what you thought. If you read any of the same shit. If I missed some books, I probably did. Or if you hated all my crap, leave me comments. I like comments, people. Comment down below. All right, that's what I got. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go make a sandwich. And don't be a dick. And I'll talk to you later. See ya.